Hey guys, Billy Epperhart here from BillyEpperhart.com, and today we're doing something brand new. We're actually doing our new vlog, and that's new to me, and if you've been following the blog, you know it's new to you as well. And so today I'm going to take some time to really talk about 14 mistakes that new investors make in real estate. So if you're interested in real estate, you want to make sure you stay tuned to the video to really diligently come in. You know, one of the greatest things about real estate investing is that you can build wealth, in my opinion. One of the quickest ways to build wealth is by investing in real estate. Now, you may be watching and you've never bought a piece of real estate, or you may be watching and you may own several properties, maybe 4 or 5 even, and that's pretty impressive if you do. But there may be a few of you that own 10 or 20, some that may own much more than that. Well, these mistakes that I'm going to share are really mistakes that new investors make. And so those of you that maybe have a much larger number, you know these by heart. So in fact, if you're watching, you should watch along just to see. In fact, if you want to comment and tell me a couple of mistakes that maybe we should consider teaching on that maybe we missed, that'd be awesome if you have that kind of experience. But my experience has been that it takes a while as you begin to develop your portfolio, building property, to really understand kind of how not to make some of these mistakes. Or you either notice them, once you have some experience, you notice them coming down the road. So I remember many years ago, back when I had first graduated from high school, I went to work getting ready for college in the fall. I went to work in the summer for a pipe fitting crew. I actually worked in an oil refinery, and they were building this oil refinery where I was, and I was an assistant. I became what they call a first-year type apprentice pipe fitter. And so I remember we were hanging some pipe, and we were having to work with angle iron. Now, most of the time, those of you that have a background like that, you'll know iron workers usually work with the iron, but in this case, we were having to make some very specific brackets for pipe. And so I remember the first time I tried to cut the galvanized steel, and I was trying to make a circle in the steel for the bolt to go through where we could bolt it up. I remember I was going around about the size, and I was cutting around on the outside, and nothing was happening. It was like the metal was resisting the flame. And an old pipe fitter who had a lot of experience came up to me, and he said, "Now son, I'm going to show you how to do this." So he took the blowtorch and he held it in one single spot until the metal heated up. So instead of moving it, he literally held it in one spot. The metal moved up, and then the metal lit up, excuse me. You could see the red dot on the metal, and then it began to melt. And literally the heat began to melt the metal, and then he took that and he began to make the hole larger. Just as the metal would melt, he would do a circle bigger and bigger and bigger until he got the exact hole. And so he told me, in fact, he laughed at me when he saw me trying to make the circle outside. And he said that's one of the biggest mistakes that first timers make, is they don't realize you got to heat the metal up and concentrate it first. Well, it's the same way here when we talk about real estate. There's some things that I've learned about how to cut the metal, right? There's some things I've learned about how to make the hole that I want to help you with. So I want to tell you, one of the mistakes you're going to avoid is going around the metal and trying to make the hole, because it's not going to work. So that's what we're going to share here about real estate, is helping you understand that these mistakes are mistakes that almost everybody could make, and most people do make in investing in real estate. And so what we're going to do is help you know that. And so as we talk about the 14 mistakes that new investors make, one of the things that we really want to share with you here is an understanding that, first of all, you must learn to start sooner rather than later in investing in real estate. Now, if you noticed, I have the numbers up here, 1 to 14. And so if you notice that, these are the ones we're going to uncover. And so the first mistake is starting later rather than sooner in investing in real estate. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, first of all, one of the things that happens in life for you to really learn what you're doing is you have to get in the game. And what I mean by that is that you have to get started. And so by getting started, even though you may make some mistakes in the process of getting started, one of the things that you will find out as you get in the game, you'll find out that you learn by actually getting in the game. There's knowledge that you gain, there's know-how, and there's an understanding. I like to teach on something called the law of wisdom. And when I talk about the law of wisdom, I talk about the fact that you first of all have to get specific knowledge about an area that you're going to work in. But then secondly, you've got to, as you begin to develop specific knowledge, then you develop understanding. And you know, somebody says, well, how does that work? Well, when you get in the game, you actually feel it, you actually see it. It's almost like you can see it, taste it, touch it, hear it, smell it. In other words, you start learning it, and then wisdom comes. So it goes in this order: knowledge, understanding, and then wisdom. So there's knowledge that you gain by just getting in the game. In fact, there's some things about real estate that are very difficult to understand until you actually get in. Now, I'm going to share those with you, and you can get the head knowledge of it, but the way you're really going to understand it is by getting in the game. So you want to start. The mistake is they start later rather than sooner. So you want to start now because it's going to enable you to gain knowledge that you didn't have before as you start kind of moving in it. And then secondly is the appreciation of assets. So in other words, the quicker you start acquiring real estate, the quicker your wealth begins to grow. So we're going to tell you how in some later blogs on how you acquire, and we're going to talk about how you build wealth, but appreciate the quicker you can start. In fact, if you don't have your first home yet, in other words, your own personal home, that's a good place to start in real estate, is learning how to buy your first house. We'll cover that for you in a vlog later, but just so you know, then the appreciation of that home, the appreciation of multiple properties allows you to build wealth quicker. And then, of course, it increases your income. You know, one of the things that happened to me was my goal was to replace all of my regular income with passive real estate income. And I accomplished that with God's help in 2.5 years. Now, not everybody's going to do that in 2.5 years. And I actually happened to catch the market just right, both on the rent side and the appreciation side. And so I was able to be able to accomplish that in a short period of time. But what happens is you can get cash flow off of real estate that really you can put in your pocket, and it's also what we call tax favored cash flow. So the first mistake that people make is they start later rather than sooner in investing in real estate. Hey, I want to thank you for watching as we've talked about this first mistake that many new investors make. We're going to cover the other 14 in the other blogs, or the other vlogs, and this one was starting later rather than sooner investing in real estate. So join us next Thursday as we continue to pick up with this subject and move forward. And also, in addition to that, I want to invite you to our annual Wealth Builders Conference in Denver, Colorado, January the 22nd through the 24th. And you can go on our website, wealthbuildersinc.org, and log in there. You can get the information, find out all kinds of things that you may have questions about, get those answered. And also I want to remind you that we are currently in the early bird special up to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, where the regular price is $169 for the conference. But if you register by that time, you get in for $119. So just want to encourage you to go on the website, wealthbuildersinc.org. And thank you today for joining us in this vlog. And I'll see you next Thursday right here. Talk to you later.